Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Cardboard Herald's Off the Table, a show all about tabletop gaming, news, community, and questions. I'm your host, Jack, and let's get started. Our first news item today is that Terraforming Mars Turmoil has been announced. This is a new expansion that is going to focus on global events and some new corporations, which if you do a little bit of digging, Frix Games revealed to the YouTube channel Board Games with Niramas some previews of these corporations. Now, Terraforming Mars is one of my absolute favorite games, but I am having a bit of expansion fatigue. You know what I mean? On the other hand, this sounds like it may be more in the vein of Prelude, and Prelude is one of the best expansions to any game ever. So if this is something that elevates the core gameplay of the game rather than just bolting on a bunch of other stuff, then I am totally all in. So we'll just have to wait and see. Our next news item is we have a Kickstarter launch for Age of Steam. Now, this is the storied Martin Wallace classic that Martin Wallace himself accuses Eagle Gryphon Games of stealing from him. There's a lot of historic bad blood on this project, which is how we have Age of Steam and Steam, which Wallace says the latter is the actual real deal. Interestingly, former president of FFG, Christian Peterson, had weighed in on the whole ordeal in the past, talking about witnessing the arbitration that ultimately sided against Wallace. You know, I don't really have a dog in this fight. Both are fine games, but all I'll say is that whenever something like this comes out, do a little bit of research, learn more about it. I have the links to the discussion in the notes below. You'll be able to be more informed and get the train game you want. Now this next one, this is what we're all here for, everyone. This is the hot scoops that the Cardboard Herald brings you in Off the Table, because I got a hot anonymous tip that seems pretty credible that Restoration Games is going to be announcing a remake or remaster of Epic Duels, formerly Star Wars Epic Duels. This comes out of some teases that have been going on for the last few days, including some images and lines like, "In battle, there are no equals." If you do a Google search for that exact quote, you end up finding a trademark registration to Restoration Games. But if you do an image search, then you also find another trademark registration for Epic Duels to Restoration Games. So I'm feeling lucky. I'll tell you what, if this is not what's going to be announced, then I will eat my hat, as long as Rob Davio prepares it with all the culinary expertise that he prepares everything else that he posts on Twitter. And then to round out our news stories for today, Popular Mechanics has updated its list of 50 best new board games, and the top listings are Wingspan, Root, Hardback, Azul, and Dinosaur Island. Sure, this isn't a ranked list, but I mean, still, that's an easy top recommendation for someone stumbling upon this list on Popular Mechanics. And you may be asking, Jack, why is this news? And, well, my response is, one, it's kind of a slow news week, and two, it's kind of cool to see a mainstream outlet like Popular Mechanics having really solid recommendations. I mean, I've seen some of those top 20 best board games ever on mainstream websites, and you could do a lot worse than this. So our highlight for today is the Fail Faster Playtest Journal. Now, it's a journal designed by Jay Cormier, a really established game designer, which is laid out so that you have a good system for keeping track of playtesting and development. It also has some other tools and tips involved. To get a little more info, I actually asked Jay to come on the show and give us like a scenario or an example from his own design experience of where the journal would be really helpful to him.
Question this week is, are you aware of your game's learning curve? Seth and I were designing a game called Mind Management, which is a one versus many game. And we kept getting feedback from our core group of gamers that they wanted a bit more of this, a bit more of that, because their side kept losing. So we kept adding it. And then we took it to a convention and had new people play it, including people like Matt Leacock and Evan Derrick, and it blew their minds. It was too complicated for them because the learning curve was too steep. So what we could have done, if we had one of these handy-dandy Fail Faster playtesting journals, when you write down the playtesters' names, there's a section here with a little checkbox. That checkbox there is meant to indicate if it's the first time that this person has ever playtested your game. Then you get to keep track of how many unique playtesters you've ever had play your game. Is it like only 6 people, or is it 50? And that might give you an idea if you have a steep learning curve or not. Thank you very much.
I know that everyone may have their own process, but if you're just getting started out in designing games, or maybe you're a really experienced designer and you're just wanting to build up some really solid habits, then I think this is a really great place to start. And besides, I love convenient organization tools for pretty much all of my hobbies. And either way, I'm a big fan of the indie design scene, so anything to help part-timers or aspiring designers stay on track is a great thing in my eyes. So check that out. It's the Fail Faster Playtest Journal up on Kickstarter right now. Thank you to Jay Cormier for coming on the show and telling us all about it. So I wanted to round out today's episode with a question. I've been thinking a lot about the questions that we get on the Cardboard Herald in the comments, directly to me, and just that I see online in general. And the thing that I wanted to ask you is, what is your favorite component of all time? Because components are important, right? You know, they're the thing that attracts us to a game in the first place. And then there are also objects that we develop attachments to. Components are legit one of the most important aspects of board games, and we are endeared to them. So what is your favorite? Personally, my favorite comes from the Reinhard Knizia classic, The Lord of the Rings, which is funny because most of the components in this game are hot trash. Well, except for the John Howe artwork. I'm talking about components, not art, and John Howe is amazing. But I specifically am talking about this guy here, the Barad-dûr token that represents Sauron marching ever closer to the 5 poor hobbits. Yes, 5 hobbits, because you can play as Fatty Bulger in this game. Now, this thing has such great weight and such great heft. It feels so much more substantial than anything else in the game, and I can't think of anything better to represent Sauron, the great deceiver, the lord of werewolves, the metaphorical eye that is peering across arid ruin to the plains of Gorgoroth. I'm getting a little excited here. Bottom line, I want to know what your favorite component is, and that is how we're going to end the show today. Thank you so much for watching the Cardboard Herald's Off the Table. If you got any questions about anything we covered, then let us know in the comment section below. We have links to everything. And again, if you have any love for this show, then please do me a favor, help spread the word. So thanks again for watching. I've been Jack for the Cardboard Herald, and I'll talk to you next week. If you enjoyed this video, we have all kinds of other reviews, interviews, and recommendations via writing, podcasts, and video here on our channel and website cardboardherald.com. Our content is audience supported, so if you want to show your support, please visit our Patreon. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Cardboard Herald.